Today, in the European Union, the very basic physical reality is being left totally out of consideration. In 2 days, my friends, on Friday, there is supposed to be a voting session about a crazy idea of the European Union called repowereu. repowereu will ban the oil and gas deliveries from the Russian Federation to the European Union. On the one hand, this is illegal cheating, because this is by substance a sanction. And within the European Union, decisions about sanctions have to be made unanimously. Therefore, I would like to assure you that we will fight against this decision, which, in my opinion, will have a very bad impact on global energy security. Because at least for me, it is very difficult to imagine how I would feel at home, in addition to a cheap and reliable energy source, a cheap and less reliable one. I listened to these fanatic arguments of some of the fellow Europeans that we are feeding the war machine of Russia. But what we Hungarians pay to the Russian energy sources is 0.2% of the Russian GDP. And I am sure that 0.2% of the Russian GDP will not win this war against Ukraine, which, by the way, is impossible to achieve on the battlefield. Now, with regard to national gas, since Ukraine has cut off the transit in its own territory, 18 billion cubic meters of incoming capacity have been cut off. Now, if the Turkish stream should be cut off, thanks to this crazy procedure, this would mean an additional 8.5 million cubic meters of incoming capacity, which is a total of 26.5 billion cubic meters. By the way, there was an attempt to challenge the operation of the Turkish stream by finding another way. The Dutch government has rejected to give the exemption and authorization to the Dutch company operating the Turkish stream for certain purchases. That's why the decision has been made that the operating company of the Turkish stream should move from the Netherlands to Hungary in order to have a safe operation. Plus, the Americans were very fair, because OFAC has given an explanation that financial transactions of the operating company do not fall under the exemption. So, good news. The Hungarian bank has fulfilled its transactions, so the operating company can continue operating and can continue operating the Turkish stream, which, if it hadn't happened, would have created a critical situation. And while the European approach is endangering global security, it also gives credence to physical attacks by the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have been attacking the Druzhba pipeline. The Ukrainians have been attacking the friendship lines, which doesn't cause any trouble for Russia, but for Hungary and Slovakia, yes. The European leaders praise such actions of the Ukrainians, which is extremely dangerous, because it serves as a reference in any part of the world that if they attack the physical infrastructure, it can be seen as a positive thing. The Nord Stream pipeline explosion is, I think, one of the most serious references to the European political situation.